Okay, Jeff, this is the soup to nuts process. When you're sitting with a visitor in their home, or you have them on the phone, or you're just simply trafficking them to your guestbook page. Your guestbook page is truthandequity.com, J Marasso. It redirects to the true URL you can see right there. And here is your guestbook page. I can also personalize this like I've done for Mr. McBride. See how Jim's got his picture right here? So if you want your picture there, I can put it there. Let me know. Okay, so when you're sitting with them, you're going to collect information. It's pretty simple. I'm going to do this in real time just to show you how fast it is. Notice the time, it's 8:32 my time. We're 50 seconds already in. So you collect the person's name, their phone number, their cell phone number or an alternate, where they're from, get their email, create a password for them, checkbox what they want to hear about. Let's just checkbox all of them. I unchecked receive our newsletter because you may not want your customers receiving our newsletter because it's going to be specific to me marketing my stuff, not EA team stuff. So, but we can curtail that. Submit the information. The next page that's going to come up is what we call the primary home page. See, primary home right there. This tells us about their primary home information. That being the mortgage. This is all third grade English right here. Very simple. If you do not have an existing mortgage or are planning to buy a home and want to consider the equity advantage for the new home, please use projected values. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's say they've got a 680 credit score. Their home is worth $250,000. Let's just say that's not California. That's a shack in California. Let's call it $650,000. Is this a new purchase? No, but let's say it was. You just say yes. Pretty easy, yes or no. And we can do that. I will show you one with a yes and show you one with a no. But for now, let's just say they're refinancing, or they'll need to refinance. They've got a current mortgage. Their origination date. When did they last refi the loan? If they've never refied and they purchased, and they've been in it for 5 years or whatever, that's the date we're looking for. The date of the last loan put in place. So let's call that March 15th, 2005. Now we know when the clock started on that loan. And when they bought it or financed, they financed for $475,623, whatever. And it was at a rate of 4.25%. And they got a 30-year loan. Pretty straightforward information right there. No secrets. All explained right here. Okay. Now, currently, if they look at their last mortgage statement, 5 years in, or however long they've been in this thing, almost 10 years now, based on this origination date, how long have they been in the loan so far? Well, let's count back. It's now 2015 or close to, so let's just call it 2015. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. 10 years. Wow. Some of us might need to take our shoes off for that. But let's just keep going. And I want to show you a little trick here. Remember, I'm doing this in real time. I'm going to log into my back office so I can get to a nice cool tool. And I don't even need to do that. I can get to it without that. But I just want to show you the amort calculator. This is something that you can learn from. Okay, the loan amount that we said was $475,623. Here's where you can stress test reality. $475,623. 30 years, 4.25. We've just built this loan. Okay, so back in 2005, this person got a loan. So his payment is $239.78. So if he tells you anything other than that when you're filling in the payment information, which we're going to get to, that's a good way to find out and already know what's going on. So you can have this tool at the ready. Very simple. Okay. Now, what does he owe? Well, if he says anything other than what this schedule says, then there's a reason. We got to figure that out. So 10 years, let's fast forward 10 years. Based on our Arabic or mathematics, he should owe $377 and change, somewhere around that mark. If he says anything different, then we're going to try and figure that out. But that's not your job, that's our job. So balance owed, let's put $377,850. $377,850. Very simple. And his taxes and insurance. Most people don't even know. So let's just put in 300 here and 500 here. So he's got a $3,600 a year insurance and $6,000 a year property taxes. I don't know what that's like out there in Cali, but I'm sure it's pretty high. And his monthly payment is $239.78. $2339.78. That's his principal interest payment, and that's what it should be. If he says anything different, we'll figure it out, but just take his word for it or have him show you a mortgage statement. No big deal. All right, the current balance on a second. Doesn't have one. So let's say he doesn't have a second. Save and continue. Pretty simple. Okay, now we're done with the first page. That's the hardest page to do right there. Is he married? Not married? Let's just put in other. Self-employed? No. Occupation? Tightrope stretcher. He's the guy that goes out for the walker. Okay, good. Gross income. Let's say he makes $15,000 a month. Okay, and his net take-home pay, let's call it $9,000 a month. And he's got other investment information here, but we're not going to collect that. Checking and savings, I don't care. Get that information, it's valuable. You don't have to, but it's good information to have. Okay, save and continue. Pretty easy page. Boom, straightforward. Okay, now here's where you can either break this stuff down or aggregate it. If you don't know what aggregate means, you can look it up, but it means to collect it and summarize it or combine it or whatever. So the aggregate monthly expenses. Let's say he lives on $3,250 a month. That's outside of any mortgage information, because if you look at the breakdown, we've already collected that information. Now we're just collecting household expenses. What does he spend on his vehicle per month? Insurance. Registration we don't spend every month, so divide it by 12. Service. We don't spend a monthly service on our vehicles, so the aggregate over the last 5 years or whatever, divide by 12, divide by 5, whatever you got to do to get to a monthly number. Okay? It's not rocket science. Maybe for some, but I'm sure not for you. Okay. Pretty detailed here with the expenses, but I did a total of $3,250. Okay? So, save and continue. Now, vehicles. Does he owe on any vehicles? Yes or no? How many? Okay, most people have one or two. If they have more than three, you can combine them all into one, or put all three of them together and then combine the last two or three into the third. Whatever you got to do. Okay? So this is pretty straightforward. What does he owe? Let's say he owes $11,223 on one car. He's got a 7% interest rate and a payment of $625. Let's just say. Okay, good. Credit cards. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of those. So you can total them here. And if he's got more than 6, combine them. We just need to know. And the rate is not that important. Rate is kind of irrelevant, but it's a good discussion point for us when we get into it. So if you know it, good. If you don't, it's not a big deal. Don't, go scouring for information. Balance on the credit cards, you total them. The rate's not important because it's going to be all over the road. He's got more than 6, So let's say he's got a combined $35,000 in credit card debt, and the rate is 12 combined, whatever, and the combined payment is $400. Okay, so now we come down here and save and continue. Pretty straightforward. It's just simple data gathering. of numbers, and it asks you the question. Just fill in the blanks. And here's an explanation up here. In order to perform an accurate analysis, blah blah blah. It's third grade English. Okay. Save and continue. And I have hundreds of people fill this out a day. There's no complication to it at all. It's Alright, and real estate owned, if they have properties, up to 5 properties, pretty straightforward. What's the estimated value? Let's say he's got a house that's worth $450,000 up in the mountains somewhere, and he owes 0, and it doesn't matter the origination, but let's just put it in there. And there was a rate of 5%. Put something in there. There is no payment anymore. Taxes and insurances are $800 a month combined, and he's not renting. So that's it. It's got more. Fill it in. Save and continue. That's done. Now he's done. And look what this gives you. Right at the end of the rainbow, it already did the analysis. It told you that if you made this change, you could have that thing paid off in 18 years and 8 months versus however many he had left. And let's look at that. Here's the analysis. Current mortgage analysis. Right here in black and white. Look at this. Your current mortgage debt is, see, remember that was the balance. And you've paid so much in principal, and look at how much you've paid in interest on that loan so far. That's crazy. This is very compelling. You still have 20 years to go. So we shaved 2 years off and are going to save him a lot of money. So he still has 20, but we're saying 18, which may even accelerate even more after we dig in. And there's the headache. I call this the headache. Look at all this right here. Put it right in your face. Ugh, ugliness right there. Okay, now here's the salvation. If we restructure, we're going to save 19 more payments. Got 224 left, 243 if you keep doing what you're doing. Right there in black and white. Pretty simple. Okay, now this is where you transition. Remember, you're filling out a profile as a visitor. So you're on the visitor side. I call this the visitor angle of view. You are looking at this from that angle, from the visitor's angle. If you want to get into the back office, I usually use Firefox for my end and Explorer for the visitor. So if you're using 2 different browsers technology, which I encourage, this is a lot easier. So now I'm going to transition into your back. Okay, so I'm going to go to the back office, which is your login right here. Okay, this is where you log in. So Jeff Marasso at gmail.com, Jennifer 1980. Log in. Okay, now you're logged in to your search panel. You have a lot of power from this point right here. A lot of power. This is your back office. You got search panel here. There's very powerful. We're not going to get into that because we're just dealing with the one. You go to your contacts because this is where the lead went. You click here and search all. It'll show you all the leads in your bucket if you do that. Or you can just search by last name. You only have 2 in there, so it's easy to do. And here it is. There's the lead right there. Click on the name and the profile comes up. There's all the information that was input right here. Boom, boom, boom. Look at all that. If you need to make any adjustments to anything on any page, you can do that right here. There's all the pages right there individually, each page that each section that we filled out right there. If you want to go to the summary and look at it again, that's where you do it right there, summary. Pretty straightforward, no confusion. Get back to the profile, click here. Now here's where you collect the contract. Say you're on the summary page and the guy says, wow, that's fantastic, let's go. Okay, you go back to the personal profile and you click on request payment right there, and you can either collect money or do a deferred contract. Right here it says put in a 0 for deferred contract. Put 0 in here. Then you must choose deferred contract from the drop down below. Well, let's see. There's a drop down. Is it in there? Oh, no, it's not in there. So what do? Oh, let's go over here. Maybe it's in this one. Oh, there it is. Deferred contract. Look at that. Boom. Now, choose CS every time. I don't care about this other stuff. Just choose CS, and it's very easy because they're going to secure the financing. All right? And principal interest. Let's just do professional blend principal interest. Executive choice is 1 loan. Professional blend is 2 loans. It's more than likely going to be 2 with most of the people that you're bringing us because of their financial footprint. So let's just do that. I'll change it later if it changes. So that's it. Default 0, deferred, professional principal interest, CS. Boom. Enter contract. Choose OK. Now you've entered the contract from the back office. Okay? You're at the back office. You can transition back over to the customer side, refresh the screen, and now he has signed contract right there. Look at that. You're looking at it from the customer's angle of view. With Firefox, I'm looking at it from the back office angle of view. From Internet Explorer, I'm looking at it from the customer's angle of view. Very simple, not rocket science. So now they're going to sign. So they click here, sign contract. They put in their address. They come down to the bottom and they sign and accept. Couldn't be any simpler.